What makes some people full of energy, while others feel tired from the moment they wake up? The answer is hidden in the first 10 minutes after you open your eyes. That short window decides whether your brain chooses focus or slips into chaos. The truth is, a lot of people don't start the day with intention. Instead, they fall into automatic habits, scrolling on their phone, checking emails, or just lying in bed for a few more minutes. And then, one rush morning is enough to drag down the whole day. If you keep repeating that cycle, 5 years from now, you will still be stuck in the same boring job, with your dreams drifting further away, something you imagine instead of actually living. But here's the good news. By changing the way you start your morning, you can begin to rewrite your whole life. So why is it so easy to lose an entire day in just those first few minutes? The answer lies in the very moment you open your eyes. Part 1. The trap, the moment you wake up. It's a bad start when the first thing your brain sees after waking up is your phone. Every morning, your brain is like wet cement. Whatever hits it first leaves a mark for the whole day. And when you grab your phone, you are basically training your brain that the number one priority is not you, but other people's chaos. Notifications, news, endless apps, they all trigger dopamine, the chemical that gives you quick hits of pleasure, but kills your ability to stay focused for long. I used to think I was in control of my mornings until I realized I was spending the first 30 minutes glued to my phone. By the time I got to work, I was already stressed out. That's the dopamine trap. My brain was wired to crave screen stimulation instead of discipline. That's when I decided, no phone for the first hour. Instead, I replaced it with small actions, and that change gave me back my focus and multiplied my productivity. Harvard research shows just 5 minutes of negative news in the morning can raise your chances of feeling sad and stressed for the rest of the day by 27%. If you want to stay away from social media, try the tip from The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. Replace the bad habit with a keystone habit like drinking water or taking a 2-minute walk. Even that small change can double your productivity. You have 2 choices. Choose dopamine before discipline, and you start the day with notifications, comparison, and feeling behind. Choose discipline before dopamine, and you start the day with water, light movement, and your to-do list. Remember this, motivation comes from dopamine, but results come from discipline. Once you break free from the dopamine trap, you unlock golden hours of focus. So here's the question. Dopamine weakens you right when you wake up, but what tool can flip the switch and help you start your day right? That's where the 5-second rule comes in. Part 2. The 5-second decision. Did you know you only get 5 seconds to decide whether you'll win or lose against yourself? And most people waste that moment. According to Mel Robbins, the creator of the 5-second rule, your brain only needs a few seconds to kick in the delay mechanism. When the alarm goes off, you've got exactly 5 seconds to move before that little voice inside, your biggest enemy, talks you into staying in bed. Neuroscience shows that the second you think about doing something hard, like getting out of bed, sending an important email, or starting a workout, your brain instantly fires up a system that pushes you toward comfort. If you wait longer than 5 seconds, your brain will hand you 1,000 excuses not to do it. Mel Robbins herself was once depressed, broke, and stuck in a failing marriage. The 5-second rule was the simple tool that pulled her out of that spiral and helped her rebuild her life step by step. I was no different. Just an ordinary guy stuck in the same morning loop, hitting snooze, scrolling my phone, rushing breakfast, and dragging myself to work already empty inside. That was the wake-up trap I lived in for years. Then I stumbled across the 5-second rule. Bit by bit, it took me from an exhausted office worker to a content creator with a YouTube channel of 100,000 subscribers in just 4 months. If you think, I need motivation first before I act, that's wrong. Motivation doesn't come first. Action creates motivation. The moment you count down, you trick your brain into breaking through hesitation. And it's not just for mornings, it works for anything. Making a tough phone call, opening your laptop to start working, or saying no to a bad habit. Once you learn how to beat yourself in those first 5 seconds of the day, every other decision becomes easier. You now know the 5-second rule helps you get up. But once you're up, what then? What do you do with the next 60 minutes? Because without the right morning system, it's too easy to fall back into the same trap: phone, emails, and chaos. That's why you need to redesign that first hour after waking up. Part 3. Building core habits. You've beaten resistance and digital temptation. The next step is to use that win to build a strong morning hour, the launchpad for your entire day. Scientists call this moment peak brain plasticity, the time when your brain is easiest to rewire. If you let social media, emails, or drama take over, your whole day gets locked into stress. But if you design that first hour on purpose, you're laying the foundation for focus, energy, and control. Research from the Journal of Applied Psychology shows that people with solid morning routines perform 25% better than those without. But the truth is, most of us start our day without a clear plan and let little worries drag us around. I made that mistake too, trying to cram meditation, yoga, journaling, to-do lists, and more into my mornings. It sounded perfect, but it left me exhausted, like running a marathon with no finish line. And I realized this: never turn your first hour into a comparison hour, scrolling through gym selfies or perfect breakfasts online, only to feel like you're falling behind. That's the fastest way to quit after a few days. So what's the fix? Robin Sharma, the author of The 5 a.m. Club, suggests the simple 20-20-20 formula for building core habits. 20 minutes of movement to trigger happy hormones. 20 minutes of reflection like journaling, prayer, or meditation to balance emotions. 20 minutes of learning like reading, note-taking, or podcasts to grow your mind. The formula you choose doesn't matter. What matters is that you control that first hour. Start small with 2 or 3 actions that pay off long-term. A 10-minute walk, writing down 3 things you're grateful for, or reading just 2 pages. These small wins send a strong signal to your brain. I'm leading today, not chasing it. Once you lock down this power hour, your whole day feels completely different. But remember, there's still a much bigger enemy waiting, one that can pull you back to your old self even if you've done everything right. It's called default identity. Part 4. Default identity. Every morning, your brain quietly hits the Restore Factory Settings button. The question is, will you wake up as your old self or as an upgraded version? Psychology research shows that while you sleep, your brain does not just rest. It also resets your default identity, the familiar version of you that has been replayed for years. That is why so many people promise to change, but by the next morning, they are right back in the same old loop. You are not only fighting distractions, you are fighting the old version of yourself. An American athlete once shared that every morning he writes down the affirmation, "I am a champion in training," before practice. That small act helps his brain connect with his new identity, not the lazy kid he used to be. Here is the catch: if you only try to change your habits, but do not change the identity behind them, you will always feel like you are circling back to the starting line. Do not underestimate affirmations or think they are just feel-good phrases. They are actually a way of sending new signals to your brain, breaking the old default. If you want a real morning change, do not just think, "I need to wake up earlier," or "I should exercise." Start with this. Write down who I am, the version of yourself you are building. Repeat it in the morning so your brain does not have time to restore the old factory settings. Remember, actions shape identity, and your new identity reinforces your actions. When you learn to reset your identity each morning, you are not just changing habits, you are rewriting who you are. But here comes the toughest part: keeping that rhythm even on your worst days. Not every day will start with energy, but it is the hard mornings that truly define you. There will be mornings when you have barely slept, the alarm rings, and the only thought in your head is, "I can't do this." That is the most important moment, because if you only win on the easy days, you do not actually get stronger. Real strength is built when you show up even without motivation. Olympic swimmer Michael Phelps once said, "The days I don't want to get in the pool are the days I need to train the most, because those are the days that make me a champion, not the easy ones." So drop the mindset that says, "If I can't give 100%, I might as well skip." That is the all or nothing trap, and it kills growth. If you slip up one day, do not beat yourself up. One off day does not ruin your whole week. When today feels tough, aim for a small win. Stand up, drink water, walk for 5 minutes, or write 1 line in your journal. When motivation disappears, momentum from small actions will carry you forward, because you are not just getting out of bed. You are breaking out of the dull life that has held you back for years. Always remember, your morning can be your biggest enemy, or your secret weapon. You already have all the tools, from beating resistance, dodging dopamine, building routines, to activating your body. Now it is time to lock them into an unbeatable system that changes your life forever. Here is your 30-day challenge. Every morning, say one identity affirmation like, I am disciplined. Take one small action, like a walk or a few pages of reading, and mark down your win. Comment if you are in, or share your own affirmation. Subscribe now for more tips on self-mastery, and share this with a friend who needs to hear it. So, are you ready to become your best self?